Great atmosphere. I thought our guys did a great job feeding off the crowd. I thought our crowd, our student section, was electric. Being able to see Mizzou Arena like that consistently has definitely been a part of our success. I know we have one home game left, one home game remaining at the end of the season, but the atmosphere is one of the best in the country, and it has definitely helped us. As it relates to our players, we were sharp in practice yesterday, had an unbelievable practice yesterday, very intense, short and sweet, but I thought our level of focus carried over from practice to shoot around into the game. And our coaching staff did a great job, and obviously from a statistical standpoint, TCOB taking care of the basketball was crucial. 21 assists, 7 turnovers. That allowed us to play the way we have always played, especially when our shots are falling.
All right, questions?
Coach, with tonight's win, Mizzou is the first team to ever go from winless in conference to 10 conference wins in a single season. What have been the changes and the culture to finally make that flip?
Well, I credit our planning, meaning our staff. They did a great job throughout the summer. The players that were returning, especially these two to my right and left, they did a tremendous job. Things like that isn't possible unless you're given an opportunity. Is that a record nationally or?
NCAA Power 4.
Okay. I think everybody else got fired. They could have possibly had a 10-win season, but their administration, their board, didn't give them an opportunity. And I thank my administration, I thank my board for being able to give me an opportunity. It's just that simple. We're in a changing times in college athletics. I've been taught how to build programs by Leonard Hamilton. We've done it, me and my staff at Cleveland State with the players that we had, and obviously here at Missouri our first year. And then our mindset was just, let's rebuild it again. And I just thank these guys for sticking with it, executing the game plan from top to bottom. Our leaders, meaning our captains, Tamar Bates, Jeremy Sanchez, Caleb Grill, they have led a certain way, and Ant Robinson is our future captain as well. So those guys have done nothing but lead, and it belongs to the players.
For Caleb, what helped you bounce back from a tougher shooting night down in Fayetteville, and then has Coach Gates ever told you to stop shooting before, or you just have a permanent green light?
No, he gets mad when you don't shoot, and I don't think there's any difference in my preparation. Just make open shots. Unfortunately, I didn't make them in Fayetteville, but getting back on track tonight was good, and seeing the ball go through the rim.
For both Anthony and Dennis, anytime anybody talks about Caleb, it's the shooting. But can you guys talk about just the all-around game and what else he does for you out there?
Yeah, Caleb brings a lot to our team, energy and that standpoint. And, we feed off of that. And, you can see us just getting steals and playing hard on defense. And Caleb is the head of that. And, people don't see that. But we feed off of that and, carry that over.
Grill is a great leader. His maturation through the years, he's a tremendous basketball mind. And, he'll be on my staff one day. I really, really mean that. Once his basketball career is over, he thinks the game a certain way. His usage rate is very high, meaning when he just get a touch, his reads are really good at exploiting the defense. He takes what he's given. He knows the split second he needs to take a shot, but his teammates know where to throw the ball, and they've thrown strikes to him. He's not catching the ball outside his cylinder. He's catching it right there in his pocket. And guys are setting great screens. Josh Gray is setting great screens for him. And Ant Robinson, Tony Perkins, and everybody else is giving him good looks. And ultimately, defensively, he's one of our highest graded defenders. And that's what's underestimated, his level of intensity, highest grade defensively, always in the right spot, and also his intensity offensively.
For Coach Anthony, I think Coach, you mentioned the 21 assists. I think 8 of them were from Anthony tonight.
Yeah.
Where was the ball movement relative to where you wanted to be? How high of a level were you operating on that front tonight?
You want to answer that?
You got it.
No, you got it.
The ball was just moving tonight. And I just happened to be the end of it and, hitting grill or cruise and them knocking down shots. And, that was just part of the game plan. The ball was not sticking tonight. And, just finding the open person and them knocking down the shot.
This is a great conference. South Carolina's a great team. They're better than what their record shows. Obviously, they were able to, I think it was 7 or 8 games, 1 possession or less. They were able to get a win versus Texas. Those things matter when you have the level of depth and also the maturation they have with the returning guys. So, for the most part, I just think our guys were able to feed defensively their offense. And that's what it came from, whether it was rebounding in the passing lanes and just making the right read. We didn't want the ball to stick, and we just wanted the opportunity to write a positive assist-to-turnover ratio, and that's what we did.
For Ant and Caleb, 6 guys finished in double figures tonight. Does it take the pressure off of you to know, like, if it's not my night tonight, somebody else on the team can step up?
Yes, it brings, the pressure off of you. And it could be anybody's night. So we're not trying to force anything and, just letting the ball flow and, end up in anybody. And we're happy whoever shoots the ball, and we're not stressing about that part.
I think when we play our best is when we score like this. I think it just makes it difficult for teams to match up with us. I mean, you can see Mark scoring in the paint. Tony was scoring in the paint tonight. Anthony was scoring at all 3 levels, I think. You hit a 3? Yeah, you hit a 3. So mid-range,
Step
layups.
Step back.
Yeah.
That was cold.
But anyways, we can just score at all 3 levels, and I think that just makes it a really tough matchup for us defensively. And the ability that we have to stretch you out and shoot threes or score in the paint, get to the free throw line, I think it just is a really tough matchup. And when we can score like that, I think it's just really tough to beat us.
I'll say this before your question. I'm sorry. Instinctually, if you look at some of our games, our guys, meaning our losses, we wasn't playing with our instincts at all. And we're overthinking in situations and just trying to be too perfect. I tell our guys not to be perfect, but to be what?
Excellent.
Be excellent. And I just want them to give their very what? I want you to give your very what?
Best.
Right. That's all we want, right? And you saw Ant Robinson playing as free as you've seen him. He tries to be too perfect. And an indicator of that is him shooting mid-range jump shots, step-back threes, and then doing a little dance afterwards, right? That's how you know he's having fun. No, I'm serious, because young people carry too much stress. And these guys are trying to do something, and it goes back to that first question of where we were last year to where we are now. These guys know their potential, and we know our destination, but we can't get there if we're going to try to be perfect. We can't. And I thought some of our losses, especially when we got a negative assist-to-turnover ratio, our guys are just trying to be too perfect. They're doing what we're asking, but sometimes players they have to be able to abort coaches' missions and make instinctual plays, and that's what you see. Sorry about that.
No, kind of to that same point for Anthony and Caleb, Coach Paris was in here talking about how confident it looked like you guys were playing, how much confidence you guys looked like you were playing with, whether that's throwing lobs, dunking, or step-back threes. When you're playing with that confidence, how much does that free you up to just play your best game?
I really think it starts with our preparation and, that practice. And we really was confident going into practice that day and, executing Coach's game plan. So that just carries over to the game, and you just saw our confidence tonight.
Yeah, I think you ain't hit it perfect, but if you don't go into a game with confidence, I think you're already beat. And I think when you don't have confidence, I can say that from experience. I've been unconfident before, and I played some of my worst games going into games because I felt like I didn't prepare the right way or I didn't do enough workouts the night before. So I think just mentally preparing yourself and knowing that you're ready and being confident going into it is just something that you have to do going into each game.
For Ant and Caleb, last in Fayetteville, the transition and fast break points weren't really up, but today you guys had, I think, 23. And I noticed that you two seem to connect pretty often in transition. What is your guys' mindset when running a fast break?
Just fast break is a part of what we do and getting out and run. And somehow me and Caleb are always trying to connect or whatever because he's running hard. And, that's just who we are, get up and down and, play fast and have fun. So that's just a part of who we are as a team.
Yeah, if we can beat the other team down the court, that's probably going to be the easiest basket we get because it's hard to score against anybody's set defense. So if we can beat their defense down the floor, it just sets us up to score 100 points some nights. And I think if we can, like I talked about earlier, how we were really good at scoring at all three levels, but like when we get out and run, I think it just makes it even tougher for them because they got to start playing defense when the shot goes up, and teams don't realize that, but when the shot goes up, that's when your defensive possession starts because once we get it, we're going.
I'll say this when it comes down to the confidence. Our instincts after a loss at Arkansas, what I look at is how guys handle each other, how they communicate, how they make eye contact, if they're down on themselves or if they're ready to make something wrong right. The level of communication was correct. The tone, the sort of responses to questions that I posed in that locker room, and obviously what we left on the table. I credit Arkansas. But young people, when they go through adversity, they sometimes get to the negative emotionally just based off a response, and it's only 24 hours, 48 hours in a quick turnaround like that where I've asked these guys to be prepared to practice. So they were prepared to practice. They were prepared to recover from their mistakes or whatever we could have done in Arkansas. Therefore, we're not starting at -10, we're starting at 0. We're never getting below that threshold, which now you will be putting your foot on a shovel trying to get out of that hole from an emotional and mental standpoint. And our guys have not gotten down like that. They've recovered from mistakes, and they've been ready, no different than I started this press conference. We had a very sharp practice, and my tone was just like this. And when you can do that as a coach, as assistants, and have players lead certain things, you know, they were correcting each other before I had to say something. And it spilled from the locker room into our practice and obviously what you see in our preparation in games. So that's where the confidence comes from. It comes from the ability to recover in addition to these guys playing with their instincts.
Coach, how special was that moment to get Jeremy Sanchez in for those last few minutes?
Man, me and Jeremy, look, I'm just telling you guys, he's going to be a CEO of something. And he was on the first team I've ever coached. And I'm saying that because that young man paid his way. He worked construction sites. He broke his foot because an excavator ran over it. He'd been through things. And when I say adversity, that kid's not afraid of adversity at all. And there's no better captain to have than a Jeremy Sanchez. When I've subbed him in this game, I think it was our game to close at IPFW for us to clinch our first championship. That's who Jeremy Sanchez is. Always ready, always on time, and obviously what the crowd, you heard the crowd not because of his popularity, but what he stands for. Jeremy Sanchez has a story, and he has an unbelievable, infectious personality within this team. And he was on the first team I've ever coached. And I wasn't afraid to start him as a walk-on in my first season coaching. And obviously him back in his locker room, having him here on this ride, that means something to me because he was a part of turning around something previously. So when you look at the turnaround, I just look at having the right guys, the right personalities in the locker room that's not afraid of it. And it starts with Jeremy Sanchez. It starts with Trey Gomillion, who's back, right, as a GA. Those personalities been through what I've asked this team to do. So they'll be future coaches as well. These guys continue to do their thing, and they'll be pro basketball players. What I do want documented is this. Every assistant on my staff is a head coach, and they deserve an opportunity to run their own programs. What we have been able to do is not just because of me. It's not. I would be selfish to think that way. I lean on these guys for a lot. And if it was up to me and not my administration, they would all be co-head coaches with me, because that's how much work they do, that's how much input they have, and I truly believe when you look at this team picture, 5 years from now, you'll see head coaches running their own program somewhere. And I just want you guys to really understand that these guys, it's not just me doing this, it's the future head coaches that's on my staff.
Final question?
Coach, it was a homecoming of sorts for Jordan Butler. Can you just talk about what you've seen out of him this season with South Carolina through scouting?
I love Jordan. Jordan's always going to be one of my former players. I'm going to always be his coach. 20 years from now, that title is going to be the same when he introduces me to his child or his future wife, right? This is Coach Gates. And just in the layup line or in the end of game line, I told him I love him. He told me he loved me. And I'm proud of, what he stands for. He wanted to get back home. And that's the most important thing. I had to understand that. His mom graduated from South Carolina, but his development is trending in a direction that I think it has been trending on. And you've seen clips of him continuing to get better. You see the maturity. He's going to be a good player in the SEC. It just takes some people time. He was a true 17-year-old kid when he came here. He didn't turn 18 until probably, I want to say, beginning of the school year. So for me, being a part of his foundation, he's carried some things over, and I'm proud of what he stands for and what he's done. I'm thankful his family believed in me, and obviously he cherished the moments that he had with his teammates here at Missouri.